Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to GBFC for my Watford versus Chelsea Premier League preview. And this is a big game. Some people have said that I'm a little bit foolish on social media for saying that Watford away will be a huge test this weekend. But I'm going to try and dissect my own statements. We're going to try and dissect our opposition a little bit, look into the Chelsea team and address some of the supposed issues that come with Chelsea's 7-match winning run ending. So you got a load of journalists, they sit there with their wireless keyboards and they're tapping away on a few buttons, just praying that Frank Lampard's Chelsea continue to drop points. And imagine, Frank Lampard's Chelsea, the team that won 7 in a row, all of the Chelsea fans are getting so excited about this lovely energy at their football club, and all of a sudden, Watford have not won a game, beat them. You can just imagine it now. They're all sat there just watching the money come in. Got nothing against mainstream journalists, I just thought I'd take the piss for the sake of it to make a point in this video. People want Chelsea to fail because we're doing well, and if we do fail, there are comparison stories that can be made. You've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, manager of Manchester United, one of the most popular teams in the world, and they've not had a great start to the season. They're on the rise, and after Lampard loses to Solskjaer's Man United in midweek, if we don't beat Watford tomorrow, it's one of those where people can start drawing that link saying like, is the Frank Lampard honeymoon phase over? I'm going to tell you a little bit as to why I personally believe this whole good form thing that we're in at the moment, it's not over in the sense of, yes, our winning streak is over, but the great start to the season is something that I think will certainly continue whether we win, lose or draw against Watford tomorrow. And I think that these Chelsea youngsters, if we compare them to some of the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been forced to use, I think that in terms of quality of depth within the Chelsea squad, it's something that isn't necessarily as big of an issue as it is at Manchester United. And again, I don't want to sit here just bitching and complaining about United. They beat us twice. I said many times after that video and during that video where we lost to Man United, well done to Manchester United. I'm not just here to scapegoat their fans and their club for what's been a very poor start to the season from them. They're up to 7th, but I don't think Frank Lampard's Chelsea, the way that I've seen us play this season, the way that we can be very pragmatic in our different approaches and our styles of football, I don't think it's going to be an issue for Chelsea to bounce back from that defeat to Manchester United. I know it's what the world wants to see, even though I think that Chelsea have actually become a lot more likeable since Frank Lampard took over. I think people see Frank as a young manager. They can kind of see the camaraderie between the club, the fans, the players, and even if you dislike Chelsea, no one can deny that it looks like a nice thing to be a part of right now. It really is. And I don't want to be one of these bandwagon fans who sees us lose to Manchester United. Let's just scapegoat Hudson-Odoi for his new 6-figure contract every week and say, you know what, the kid is overhyped. Shut up, I've had enough of it. Honestly, people have scapegoated Hudson-Odoi. Thought Stamford Bridge was going to fall down there, the sign, but it's not. This is the last video, by the way, in this office before tomorrow we move house and we'll be watching the Watford game, Tilda and I, in the new living room, making a video for you guys. It's the first thing we do when we move in, so stay tuned for that one tomorrow. Hudson-Odoi, he came in for criticism. I criticised him along with PULISIC because they're the two creative outlets in the Chelsea team, and quite frankly, you know, I'm going to call a spade a spade. If they don't perform and don't offer any creative outlet, I'm going to say, you know what? That's what they're usually good at. They didn't do it today. I've seen some people come out and say, oh, Hudson-Odoi, he's had 2 or 3 good games. Like, shouldn't we be taking away his contract and giving him a flipping battery for his payment? No! Hudson-Odoi is a top-class footballer. We all know that. People need to stop bandwagoning and hating on him for the sake of it. I'm telling you now, when this kid turns in a performance either against Watford or in one of the next couple of games, everyone's going to be going into the international break again saying, oh, God, that Hudson-Odoi, he's pretty good, isn't he? Why isn't he starting for England? So now that I've got my little run out of the way, it's Friday evening, I'm moving house tomorrow, I'm very excited, and this game against Watford, it could be, potentially, let's play devil's advocate for a second, it could be a banana skin on an icy December's morning, even though it's November, but you guys know what I mean. A banana skin, something you can easily slip up on. Nobody expects Frank Lampard's Chelsea to go to Vicarage Road and see Watford get their first win of the season, and after Chelsea's recent brilliant away form, we've scored 3 or more goals for the last 4 away games, we're looking really, really strong away from home. And despite the game against Man United, we were on a 7-match win streak. And again, I think a lot of the reason why we didn't win against United was down to the heavy rotation we saw from Lampard. And I fully expect him to revert back to the 4-2-3-1 that has been so successful, seeing Mason Mount back in that pressing role in the central attacking midfield position. Chelsea back to their best. Focusing on our opponents for a second, they've not got a single player this season who has scored more than 1 goal. If you go into the Premier League app, Tom Cleverley is their top scorer, and he buried one against Arsenal. But the reason this fixture is a banana skin, Watford changed their manager, and at the time I thought that was an absolutely ridiculous thing to do so early in the season. It's very typical of football clubs these days where you go through a slightly bad patch of form, next thing you know, manager's been sacked, everyone is like flapping around, wondering what's going on. They bring back an ex-manager, and since then, and this is, Watford fans even said I was deluded for calling this match a huge test for Chelsea. I just don't want to do what we did against Man United, go in overconfident and then be humbled by the defeat, and then you see the reaction that's happened on social media ever since. Everyone's panicking, thinking, oh, Hudson-Odoi isn't good enough, PULISIC can't do it against the... come on. Anyway, cup of tea. I need to keep hydrated. Watford have got some good individual players. So far this season, it's not quite clicked, but they've got players in that team. Look at Andre Gray. He's not had a great start to the season, but he's a decent striker. Troy Deeney could be an issue for Chelsea when it comes to this defending set pieces thing that we've struggled so badly with. Decore, I was looking at him as one of the best midfielders in the league outside of the top 6 before this season. He's a decent player as well, but the thing with Watford so far this season is they've not scored anywhere near enough goals. They're not creating enough chances, and it really does look, and it has looked at many times this season, like they're a team destined for relegation to go down to the Championship. And Chelsea at home, 10 games without a win, desperate need of a result. This is the kind of game where their fans will be there in Vicarage Road, and I know it's one of those things in football, it's an unquantifiable, something I like to talk about a lot, but I really do think this is where Chelsea need to be very, very careful. Watford haven't been playing good football. They've not had good results, but the fact that they're still chasing that first win is why this is a banana skin, and Chelsea will need to be at their very best tomorrow to make sure there's no complacency in the way, to make sure that we use the available quality that we all know that we've got and get the 3 points. A draw tomorrow is not the kind of result we need. At this stage of the moment in the Premier League, we're looking upwards. We're looking, can we catch third? Can we chase down Manchester City? We've got them in a couple of weeks. If somehow we can go to the Etihad and get the gap to City within 1 or 2 points, Chelsea aren't just looking at settling for the top 4. We're starting to really look up the table. We're 8 points adrift of Liverpool. I'm not even going to entertain the title conversation today. Speak to me about that in December, maybe. Who knows? So as for who do I think is going to start in my Chelsea team for the game against Watford, Kepa is a no-brainer. As for the right back, we're going to give it to Azpilicueta. I did think that Reece James had a very good game in the week against Man United, but I think Lampard's going to revert back to type in this game. Azpilicueta starts on the right. Rudiger, supposedly, is ready, and he might feature against Watford, but I don't think he's going to start. I think we're going to go again with Zuma and Tomori. One thing that was massive that I didn't mention in my 6 things we learnt video is we saw how important Fikayo Tomori is to this Chelsea team in that game against United. Tomori's pace and strength and agility is quite often what gets Alonso out of trouble, and what has got Alonso out of trouble as the left back when he plays for Chelsea, because Tomori is so steadfast and he's so ready for the defensive role that he has when Alonso is in the team. So Tomori to come back in, I think he is Chelsea's first choice centre back right now, despite the great form of Kurt Zouma. I think those two are going to partner one another. Rudiger being back and fit is brilliant news for Chelsea. People have kind of forgotten about this man because Zouma and Tomori have kind of made us forget about him in recent weeks, which is a good thing to a certain extent, but at the same time, Rudiger was probably well known as our best centre-back before the start of this season, before we saw that Tomori could definitely make up that step. So in terms of the centre-backs, those are the two I'm going with. Emerson, again, we don't know if he's going to feature, we don't know if he's fully fit. Frank's kind of said he does expect them to feature in one of the next couple of games, so for argument's sake, after his poor performance against Man United, I throw Emerson in for this one. I think that Chelsea need to be very careful. As I've said so many times, I'm not going to analyse Watford too much because most of the reasons why I'm saying we need to be careful is all hypothetical, and I think Chelsea will win this game, don't get me wrong. I've said it's a banana skin, but that isn't for 1 second, meaning that I'm not confident going into this game. As for in front of the back 4, we're going to go with the ever-present Kovacic and Jorginho. I say ever-present, Kovacic really isn't an ever-present, to be honest. When Kante comes back, it's going to be interesting to see, particularly with Ruben just around the corner as well. It's going to be interesting to see how Frank actually manages the use of our talented central midfielders. But Kovacic and Jorginho was such a brilliant partnership away at Burnley. It's been so good since Kante's been injured. And I think one of the main reasons Chelsea have been so good away from home has been that duo in the middle in the pivot. So if we look at how Chelsea can dominate this game against Watford, I look at the 3 midfielders that Watford used in their last game against Sheffield United. You got ex-Chelsea boy Nathaniel Chalobah in there, you've got Decore, And you've also got Will Hughes. I think that the golfing quality between Jorginho, Kovacic and these three players will 100% be on show at the weekend for Chelsea against Watford. I think that if we look at those two and then using Mason Mount back in the central attacking midfield position in the centre to press those players, to put the pressure on the Watford defence, you've got Daryl Janmaat who'll probably play on the wing-back role, Kabasele or Holebas playing in like the left wing-back role for Watford. I think that we could cause them all kinds of trouble going forward. As for the two players on the wing, we've got Tammy Abraham as the striker, that is for sure. We don't need to panic about him. I think Tammy's going to bag one this weekend against Watford. I've gone with the two same players that played against Burnley, PULISIC and also Willian. I think that we cannot underestimate how good Pulisic's performance was, and the influence and energy that Willian brings to this team right now is also something that I don't want to replace. I know that I've made a big deal this week about saying don't worry about Hudson-Odoi and all that stuff, and then I'm sat here today saying, start Pulisic and Willian ahead of him for this game against Watford. We've got to remember, and I keep saying this, and it's another reason why Hudson-Odoi probably isn't at his sharpest right now, there is an element of confidence that could be lost as a result of the injury. It's an Achilles injury, it's something that can reappear within a player's career. For an 18-year-old, Callum Hudson-Odoi is probably going through a phase right now where he probably needs to remember how good he is. And it's not going to take long. It's going to take one little burst past a player that we didn't see against Man United, and I said in my 6 things, I wanted to see Hudson-Odoi driving at that defence. We didn't see it enough, and I think that using Pulisic and Willian actually gives us so much industry in this game against Watford. You've got Willian's energy, you've got Pulisic's eye for goal and his brilliant Premier League form that he started against Burnley, then Tammy Abraham up top. I definitely feel as though that is by far a strong enough team for Chelsea to get the win at Watford, but as I've said throughout this video, we do need to be careful. If we look at some more of Watford's danger men, you've got Gerard Deulofeu, who's not made the best start to the season, but on his day, he can be a very dangerous player. They've also got Roberto Pereira, the Argentinian who plays up top at the moment for Watford. These players, they're good players. Watford have not been very good this season, and they have looked very toothless going forward as well, but these are players that you cannot ignore, and Chelsea are going to need to be fully switched on in this game, and I think with the team that we've got on the screen right now, we will have more than enough to go to Vicarage Road, make it 5 away wins on the spin, and get there with 3 points. So as for my score prediction, I've not made my Premier League predictions video yet. I've just not had the time for anything today. There's so much going on right now. I don't want to keep talking about it. You guys are here for the content, so that is what I'm going to bring you. Gonna say 3-1 Chelsea. I think we will get the result. I have erred on the voice of caution throughout this video today, but that being said, we've been very, very good away from home. The way that we press teams, the way that we, hopefully, in this game, don't shut off. It would kind of be one of those where, even at 3-0, we need to just focus on continuing to drive forward, continuing to concentrate in the middle, continuing to look for the killer pass, but being patient in possession, something that Chelsea have done very well for the majority of matches so far this season, and I think a 3-1 win is what we will take away from Vicarage Road. But anyway, Tilda is back in the UK. Tomorrow we're going to be driving up to London, moving all of our stuff in, and then I'm going to be doing a little video where we both sit down, we watch the Watford game, get a little takeaway, that kind of vibe, and I will do like a highlight reaction video instead of a match vlog, because I can't make it to the game tomorrow. Kickoff is 5:30 in the evening. It's just not going to happen, and I think that would have a very angry girlfriend if I was to just be like, you know what, love, you unpack the boxes, stick everything, yeah, whatever, I'm going to the football scene a little. It's not going to go down very well, and quite frankly, I wouldn't want to leave her to do that either. So tomorrow's going to be a fun day. Expect a new video out tomorrow night as well. If I can get Premier League predictions up as the usual series that it is, I will try my best to get it up for you guys tomorrow morning. If it doesn't happen, I'm sure you guys can understand why. Hit the like button if you're enjoying these videos, if you're excited for tomorrow's game. Let's leave the negativity behind now. We lost to Man United, we can move on from that. All the focus is on Frank Lampard's Chelsea going to Vicarage Road tomorrow and getting 3 points. Subscribe to the George Benson Football channel if you haven't already. If you know another Chelsea fan who might like this kind of video, drop them a little SMS message. I can't believe I've just said that. Drop them a WhatsApp. Stick it in the group chat. Whatever you need to do. Get us to 70,000. I will catch you all from the new apartment tomorrow. Goodbye. And whilst we're here, hang on a minute. Stamford Fridge. If this doesn't deserve a like rating, I don't know what does. Stamford Fridge, ladies and gentlemen. He has been ever-present in the videos since we moved here, since we started this channel, and he's gone. Should we see what's in it? Shall I have a look? Hey, yes!